Hi everyone, Chris Natzke here with Black Belt Leadership Speaking and Coaching with your Mind of a Champion Tip of the Week live on Facebook. You know, we're living obviously in interesting times and so many of us, and rightfully so, are concerned about being contagious. We're either concerned about receiving a virus from someone else or actually maybe giving the virus to somebody else. And so this whole idea of being contagious has a negative connotation in our society. But I was thinking recently that maybe being contagious isn't such a bad thing. Well, let me explain. You know, one of the things that I'm proudest of in my life is the process by which the students that I teach in martial arts have to go through in order to earn their black belt. So in addition to the 3 to 3.5 years that they have to do in terms of training diligently to get to a point, in the final 16 weeks of their training to get their black belt, they have what they call a black belt candidacy cycle. So they have to do some pretty stringent physical things. They have to do 4,000 push-ups and 4,000 crunches. They have to spar 120 rounds. They have to run 40 miles. But that's not what I'm most proud of. What I'm most proud of is what they have to do from a personal development standpoint. You see, they have to mentor someone for 10 sessions. They have to eat clean for an entire week. So no processed foods, no sugar, no alcohol. Getting 10-year-olds off beer is tough, but I make it happen. And then the thing that I love the most is they have to spend a day in empathy. So they have to spend a day either being blind, deaf, mute, or in a wheelchair. But in addition to that, probably the bedrock of the program is they have to do 400 random acts of kindness. They have to show kindness to other individuals. So yeah, I misspoke a little bit. The kids only have to do 300 acts, but they have to do 100 home chores. So parents love me. But that being said, this idea of kindness and us showing up in this kind way, in a proactive way, can totally be a force for wonderful change in our lives. And it made me think about one of my favorite authors, Dr. Wayne Dyer. And years ago, I read in his book, The Power of Intention, this idea of what happens when acts of kindness are done. And what he did is he cited a study that was done where when an act of kindness is done, we, as the person giving the act of kindness, have this jolt of serotonin in our body. It's the feel-good hormone, if you will, and in fact, it's what Big Pharma puts in all of those depression medicines in order to make people feel better. But what's so great about that is not only when we do that act of kindness do we have that spike happen, but the person who is receiving that act of kindness also has that spike of serotonin. But where it gets really good is this. Someone who's just watching that act of kindness, they're watching that display of service, what ends up happening is the serotonin in their body actually raises by the exact same level. So in essence, what happens is when we're proactive in doing acts of kindness and service, we actually become contagious in a really, really powerful way. So how do we do that? Well, you know, just like I tell my students when they have this task in front of them, do 400 random acts of kindness, and it seems a little overwhelming to them, I tell them to focus on 3 things. Number 1 is set the intention. Set an intention for being of service and being in kindness. Because when we do that, what ends up happening is we start to see things in front of us. You may have heard me speak about this in other videos, but we have this element in our brain called the reticular activating system. So it's like if you want a new car and you get your intention set on the new car, you start seeing more of them on the road. Well, it's the same thing when we set our intention of being of service and being in kindness. What we'll do is we'll start seeing opportunities all around us that we never saw before. Number two is to slow down. Slow down. I know I just before I got here, I was in the park and just kind of centering myself before I did this video, and I realized how little I do that. I'm oftentimes going from one thing to the other. And when we don't slow down, when we're on this really fast pace, so many opportunities can just be right in front of us that we don't even take notice of. So where can you slow down so you can notice more opportunities to serve? And finally, be courageous. And that's courageous in 2 ways. Number 1 is step out of your comfort zone. If you see someone needs help, or there's maybe a service organization that you want to spend some time in, I know it's easy to always say, I'll get to it later, but be courageous to take that action step. And then finally, and probably most importantly, is be courageous to ask for help when you need it. because if we can't take care of ourselves, we can't help take care of others. So there's my little message for you this week, folks. Be in service, be in kindness, be contagious, because when we do that, that's what true leaders do to make positive change in our world. So, if you enjoyed this video, as always, please like it, please share it, please leave your comments below. And it's been my pleasure once again to bring this to you. And I'm Chris Natzke with Black Belt Leadership Speaking and Coaching, and I'll see you next time on the Mind of a Champion Tip of the Week.